What is interracial marriage? According to dictionary.com, it is the marriage or cohabitation by persons of different races.
To understand interracial marriage, you have to first understand the history behind it. The civil rights movement started in the 1950s, and before this, all interracial marriages were not socially accepted in any way. Progress began when the Supreme Court ruled that prohibiting interracial marriage was unconstitutional in the 1967 court case Loving versus Virginia. During this time, people who were mixed were outcasts in both black and white communities because they could not be separately classified as either black or white.
Although society has made great steps in overcoming prejudices towards interracial marriage, outrage generated from this Cheerios commercial demonstrates the remaining conflict.
Did your grandparents object of your parents' marriage at all?
I don't think it was objecting to the marriage itself. I think it was objecting to the fact that my mother was going to move so far away, from going from Germany to the United States. And I think they were also concerned because they had an image of the United States being more Wild West and cowboys and cattle rustling and things like that, because John Wayne movies were very popular, and that's what they would watch.
You know I'll do it! You want me to kill her?
You do what you think is best, Ned.
What you do?
How are your cultures different?
Well, I grew up in a house where my father was from Ukraine and my mother was from the U.S., from an Italian-American background. And so my mother did a lot of things for my father's culture. Like all the cooking was Ukrainian cooking. Not all of it, but a lot of Ukrainian cooking to make him feel at home. And so when I married your mother, that all stopped. She's not a big cook, but we ended up eating more Dominican food.
Yeah, well, as you know, I'm from the Dominican culture, so what we share is that we have the same values, family values. Like, you know how it is, my family and his family were very close. And our culture, our values, our religion are very important, and we're both Catholic, so we share that. So that was wonderful. We're both Democrat, and we share that, which helps a lot. And we had a lot of the same values and principles. I think the food is very different, and he learned to eat some rice and beans.
Her culture prevails in most cultural conflicts.
So, have you gained any different culture from your marriage?
Yeah, you have to adjust, to the British culture. So you can't do the things the Austrian way. If you do it, it doesn't work. So you have to adjust and do it so that the other person can accept it. I would sleep outside. I mean, I would sleep in the woods at -20. I don't care. But you have to be with a person that freezes at 70 and likes to be in a house, can't stand a bugs, can't handle mosquitoes, flies, whatever. It doesn't bother me at all. So, so you have to become, adjust to it. And do so that you can survive marriage.
Yeah, so what are stories that you've had that?
Well, I grew up in two things. One, I grew up in a culture where hunting was just like baseball, right? And for her, that was the most alien thing in the world. Hopefully she's learned to some kind of learn that that's American. On the other hand, I had no learning mind for music, but I noticed that the Korean people love music. They love singing. And And I've learned to appreciate that. You know, I haven't learned playing any instruments, but I really enjoy singing much more, and I've tried to acquire that love of music in my own life from the Koreans. I never grew up in a family that sung any songs or played any music, but I'm very appreciative now I'm in a family that does that.
And I'm very grateful that your dad has a learning mind when we go to Korea. And sometimes I'm worried that he might not, do well with totally different. See, I thought it's easier for me to adapt to, the new culture here. But for American to go to Korea and being exposed to just people who speak just Korean, not English at all, and then offering him constantly completely Korean food, and he did very well. And for example, eating like raw fish, a big family function, we had like 1,000 different dishes in front of us, and Daddy tried everything. And in fact, one sister tried to give him like live octopus, and I totally refused. I can't do it, but he tried. He's very open to those things, so I'm grateful. So we even though initially I would have some concern, what's he gonna think, but he does very well. So I'm very happy about that.
What is a stereotypical Austrian like?
Well, all Austrians, they grow up in the mountains. They all live on farms. They enjoy sausages. Their life is like the sound of music, and the hills are alive with the sound of music.
What is a stereotypical Korean like?
I guess they all wear glasses. They all look the same. They all play piano or violin or some other string instrument. They're really good at math. They're really smart. They listen to their parents a lot. They have small eyes, and yeah.
So what's the stereotypical Dominican person like?
Well, for one thing, they're really loud. The women have almost never walked out into the street without having curls on in their hair. If someone's home, there's always food on the stove. Everybody's your cousin, no matter who they are. Just everybody's your cousin. And everybody's your family too. There's really no distinction. What's a stereotypical American like?
Well, for me personally, one stereotype is redneck, which is what part of my family is, more from the hillbilly country, I guess. And for them, it's mostly they hunt and they listen to country music, and people think of them as being uneducated, which isn't always true.
I enjoy tennis and volleyball and a lot of sports. I really like camping and the outdoors, like hiking. I enjoy people and my friends, and on the weekends I really enjoy being around other people, and yeah.
I like to run, I like to swim, I like to exercise and play sports, and I talk a lot, and I like to ask questions, and I like breathing fresh air.
More of a quiet person, I guess. I like filming things a lot. I like building computers and other technological things.
I guess I'm mostly more hillbilly in some ways because, I enjoy hanging out with people who are considered redneck because they're a lot of fun. I listen to country music, but I'm also quieter at times, and I also study a lot for school.
I am Serena Hoffman.
I am Mariana Brogi.
I am Camilo Melnick.
I am Nora Snyder.